I'm Jasmine Hughley, and my performance is entitled The Most Powerful Woman in the World, Condoleezza Rice Paving a Pathway for America's Future. Hey, I'm Condoleezza Rice, but you can call me Condi. I was born November 14, 1954 in Birmingham, Alabama, one of the most segregated places in the South. My parents, John and Angelina Rice, were stern believers in education, especially since my mom was a school teacher. They tried to enroll me in first grade when I was only 3, but I refused, so it didn't work out. They believed the only way to fight the discrimination shown towards us is with a strong education. Me and my 2 friends used to play with these dolls until the morning of September 15, 1963. They were in the 16th Street Baptist Church when the 19 sticks of dynamite exploded under the bathroom floor. Them and 2 other little girls were killed. Nearly a dozen were injured. This just inspired me even more to accomplish my goals. After graduating high school from St. Mary's Academy at 16 and receiving my master's degree in political science from the University of Notre Dame, I received my PhD in political science from Joseph Corbell School of International Studies. In the following years, my political career started taking off, and many of my colleagues had the same question. Why was I Republican? I'm Republican because of my father, John Rice. He was once a Democrat until he tried to vote. The Democrats refused to let him vote, though the Republicans allowed him to. From that moment on, he was a Republican. Anyways, in 1989, with the help of Brent Scowcroft, the National Security Advisor, I received the job I am currently working as, which is Director of East Europe and Soviet Affairs. Here I met my good friend, Robert Blackwell. We help America solve many foreign issues. Excuse my Kansas accent. I'm Robert Blackwell. I am the Senior Director of East Europe and Soviet Affairs under the National Security Advisor. Condi is my right-hand man, or should I say woman. We help America solve many foreign issues. And in East Europe at this moment, a lot of foreign issues are going down. The Berlin Wall once separated West Berlins, who believed in democracy, and East Berlins in East Germany, who believed in communism. This was all until November 9, 1989, when the Berlin Wall collapsed. There was a strong sense that in the absence of the Soviet Union and the Berlin Wall, that there would be chaos. As the Director of East Europe and Soviet Affairs, I had the idea that if Moscow, London, Paris, and Washington, the 4 powers that defeated the Soviet Union during World War II, could get together, then the decisions on the Germany's reunification would be made easier, quicker, and more efficiently. We started initial talks on March 1990. On September 12, 1990, a treaty was signed. I helped write this treaty, and I know that since I'm in politics, it won't be the last time that I make tough decisions under pressure. After becoming the Senior Director of East Europe and Soviet Affairs, under the National Security Advisor, I became the National Security Advisor in 2001. On September 11, 2001, the terrorist group Al-Qaeda attacked the United States, killing thousands and thousands of people. George Bush made a promise to America that he would hunt down and punish those responsible for these cowardly acts. Now it was my job to help carry this out. We believed that the leader of Al-Qaeda, Osama bin Laden, was being harbored in Iraq. On October 2002, Congress voted overwhelmingly to use military force in Iraq after Dick Cheney, the vice president, stressed to the veterans of foreign wars that Iraq held weapons of mass destruction. Many political figures disagreed with our decision. Brent Scowcroft and Scott Ritter both wrote op-eds against the war and even went on television programs campaigning against the war. So I wrote my own column to share my opinion. On January 24, 2003, I wrote the column named Why We Know Iraq is Lying. I stated that Iraq is treating inspections as a game. It should know that time is running out. On February 2003, U.S. and Britain wanted to attack Iraq but seeked the UN's approval. On March 2003, we were done waiting for the UN and we attacked Iraq. But then another problem arose. Hi, my fellow Americans. I'm George Bush, your 43rd president. After we invaded Iraq, Condi made another tough decision. She testified in front of the 9/11 Commission. The investigators believed that 9/11 could have been prevented. The investigation Condi went through was 3 hours long with tricky, intense questions and many accusations, but she held her composure. Even though Condi went on stand, me and Dick Cheney would only talk to the commission under special conditions. Number 1, we couldn't be recorded. Number 2, we didn't have to take oath. Number 3, we could only testify together. And number 4, there was no way that the information we told them could be expressed to the public. Condi made a tough decision and testified in front of the commission, and I believe that made her a better leader. Hi, I'm Brent Scorecroft. I was the National Security Advisor for Gerald Ford and George H.W. Bush. After meeting Condoleezza Rice at a Stanford University event in the 1990s, I knew I had to get to know this young lady. She was bold and opinionated, and that counts a whole lot in politics. I started inviting her to seminars and conferences, and even directed her to the position she held as East Europe and Soviet Affairs. She became the first African American woman to hold the position of National Security Advisor in 2001. But I noticed something really strange. It seemed to me that at each profession she held, she changed her political views. When she was a provost at Stanford University, her professor, Alan Gilbert, thought she was more towards a Marxist, while I thought she was a realist, only to see her become an idealist for George W. Bush. My friend Marcus Mabry wrote an article on her named Think Again, which expressed our opinion on her. She changed her political views to get ahead in her careers. Contrary to my former co-worker Brent Scorecroft's opinions, I do not change my political views to get ahead in my career. Though different bosses at various professions have different political views, does not mean I change my political views because I support them. When you occupy a profession, you have to support and help carry out your boss's plans. And that's what I do at any profession I hold. So to use the words of your good friend Marcus Mabry, maybe Brent Scorecroft, you should think again. In George Bush's second election, I became the first African American to become the Secretary of State. This